I agree with him wholeheartedly. Marsha, since your husband Neil Simon wrote The Goodbye Girl for specifically for you and Richard Dreyfuss, I wonder, while he was working on it, did you kind of look over his shoulder and offer suggestions now and then?
Um, the only time I think that I ever actually offered a valid suggestion, which was very hesitant to do anyway, um, was in the original script. The section where she goes and tries and gets a job was another kind of job. It was doing an industrial show. And he didn't seem to like the way it was working out in the script. So we were sitting, and I said, well, you know, when I was in New York, I was just trying to think of different kinds of jobs somebody who's out of work and doesn't have a lot of skills could do. So I had done the auto show here in New York once, and I told him about how long it goes and roughly how much money it pays, and then they give you this 5 pages of gibberish about a car that you really do have to memorize by rote. And I had to memorize 3 scripts because I was what they called the swing performer, so I would stagger every girl for her lunch period. So I had to know about 4 cars of this one line that I can't even remember which car it was. And so that was how the whole thing with the Subaru thing came about. But it would be the only time I think I was ever really consciously aware of offering a suggestion.
This is the first time, or one of the, well, I guess on a major project, it's the first time that you and Neil have worked together, is it not?
The very first time would have been the play where we met, but in terms of after having gotten married and everything, and in films, this was the first time that we actually completed a project together.
All right, so now you're both in a working situation. Did you see any sides of Neil and his personality that you were unaware of before?
No. No, as a matter of fact, I didn't. The only thing he was is that he's much more, I think, involved in terms of the plays. In film, you tend to stand around and wait a lot, and that bores him. So he didn't come around the set all the time, but when he did, it was terrific. But there was not a major personality change of any kind or different attitude about something. It was wonderful. I missed it when he wasn't there. I loved it when he was around.
How long have you known Richard Dreyfuss?
We actually officially met when we were getting ready to read the script. But we both had a terrific sense of kind of knowing one another from the work, and then also we just had a natural chemical sort of response to one another, and I just think he's terrific. I have the best time with him. He's a wonderful person.
I think many people, though, having seen Jaws and some of the other things that he has done, will be surprised that a romantic comedy lead was written for Richard Dreyfuss.
I know.
A daughter, 10-year-old Lucy, and she could be described, I guess, as precocious. And she, in the film, comes out with a number of expletives at certain times. Did that bother you at all? Because you and Neil have 2 daughters. And
oh, no. No, it's never the nature. Something like that is not the fact that a child will say a 4-letter word or refer to something in a grown-up manner. It's the ingenuousness with which it's done, you know, so it never bothers me.
how would you rate The Goodbye Girl along with other plays and scripts and things that Neil has written?
I think that what I like about it is it has all the best aspects of the plays in the sense of dialogue and range of ideas, characters, and the rhythm of each, and all. It has an excellent element, which is that he really for the screen kind of dimension to it, where any but the scene takes on great meaning, and I think his work became very sophisticated in that sense. You know, I mean, he's getting like to be better and better. I think a good screenwriter.
Marsha, one last question. When you and Neil have an argument, does he argue funny? Does he say funny things?
Well, it depends on what's invested in the argument. And sometimes we'll have an argument that's very serious, but what ultimately will happen is that there is humor that comes into it at the end. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But he's so specific all the time that you really do deal with it all the time. And then that perspective sometimes will just suddenly take this shift, and it's terrific because you both wind up laughing at yourself.
That's the best way to end an argument.
I think so.
Marsha, it's been nice having this chance to meet you and talk with you.
Oh, thank you, Bobbie.